Good night, everyone. This is going to be a very bubbly and sparkling episode. You know why? Because it's about the history of sodas, lemonades, and soft drinks. And women. Today, I have my lovely friend Diane joining us again, if you remember her from the advertisement episode.
Hello, it is I.
What would you like to say to the people?
I would like to say this.
She's going to open her soda. Wait. Oh. That was pretty nice. That was pretty solid.
Yeah, there you go. It's
soda,
open.
Soda ASMR.
Soda ASMR.
What soda do you have? Would you like to share with the people?
Yes, I have a very special soda that Brooke got for me because I've been lucky enough to have been invited to this episode, and it is strawberry Fanta from Mexico.
With real cane sugar.
Real cane sugar. Not fake canes.
Not fake
real canes.
Real canes of sparkling water. It is, I think they had cherry flavored for a while, so I'm lucky. All right. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right. So we're going to kind of start with just the history of sparkling waters leading into soda in general, and then we're getting women and like more nitty.
Okay. Women is what I'm all about.
Women. So, do you remember Bath?
Yes, I
what the city of Bath
is I have ever seen. It romance within every inch of that city.
It's so gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous. It's
it in Jane Austen's time. Yes. It just has that gorgeous architecture.
Yes, and it's like it has these really like soft yellow sandstone that is buildings, and it's surrounded by forests and like rolling hills, and then you go inside and every inch of it is like
and it like all the same, but not in the way of the suburbs, but in the way of like it almost feels like so curated, like all the buildings match the style. But do you want to tell people why it's called Bath?
Oh, well, that's because they were originally the Roman baths.
Yes.
After they came in and made it their own. Yeah. People that were there. And the Victorian, the magical waters that Bath was known for. The
healing waters of the natural hot springs.
Yes, it's one of the only hot springs, like the only sources of like, what was it? Like naturally flowing water.
Yeah, like this naturally hot flowing kind of sparkly
water, and it was said to have possessed magical healing powers. Loved him, obsessed with it. You can
before them too. Yeah.
And so if you were that was fairly well off, super well off, but really well off family, and you would go there and take all of your nice fancy clothes with you, because that scene was also a social scene.
Yes.
So Bath became a destination for both socializing as well as a rejuvenation center, a magical spa.
And they even have a pump where you can take and drink these waters that are supposed to have many health benefits because of the natural minerals. It's called the pump, basically, and there's still a room called the pump room. And I have partaken of these waters, and Diane has as well.
Yes.
They taste like minerals.
Yeah, they do. No, it tastes very bad.
It does taste like minerals, though. Like, if you think of, like, really heavily mineraled water, that's, like, kind of what it tastes like. And, of course, like, natural, non-purified water.
Yeah. And it comes out of there's a special room in the pump room.
Yes.
Pump, and the water comes out of this fountain, and the fountain head is shaped like a fish.
I'm going to include a picture of that. It's so good. So this town, there were a couple different towns like it. One called Seltzer, one called Spa, one called Piermont, Ballston, and those happen to be the names of the first sparkling waters.
Oh my gosh! Whoa!
And so the inspiration was actually these natural hot springs that appealed to people and that had these healthy waters. And so there was a desire to reproduce those quote unquote sparkling waters. Some of them were more naturally carbonated than the ones that Bath are. And so to reproduce those water, get sparkling water.
Whoa.
And that will later get flavored. But here's a fun little bit of facts about sparkling water that I discovered. So this is a quote from Judith Levin's book, Soda and Fizzy Drinks, A Global History, which I owe much of this episode to. Quote, Priestley, credited as first, he ... received the highest honor awarded by England's Royal Society. And he thought he was creating an anti-scorbutic, which is like, he made a bright quality of the sparkling water and the acid of lemons and limes. So he thought he was credited as first for scientifically putting carbonation in water or making it a cure for basically. Which is wrong. So he's credited as first, but there were others. But he published a thing called Joseph Stare. Clearly.
Oh, those impregnating waters.
But yeah, it was basically finding a way to trap the carbon dioxide and actually put it in the bottle. And the hardest challenge, after they kind of figured out different ways to make carbonation and then kind of get it to get in the bottle, the hardest part was keeping it in. So many early sparkling water bottles actually had to lay on their side or have their corks screwed on really tight to keep it in. One of the designs is called the Cod's bottle design, which I found in many magazines about sparkling water that are attached to this episode. This bottle, have you ever seen the Ramune sodas?
Yes.
From Japan with the marble on top?
Yes.
That's the Cod bottle design. And that actually used to be one of the most common designs to keep the water in, or to keep the carbon dioxide in the water. And it just influenced Japanese, but we changed it.
Reverse appropriation.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
Exactly. So you can see the Cod's bottle all around you. You can still see the sparkling water bottles that these people would have seen. And of course, there was Schweppes sparkling water was a pretty popular one. If you've ever still seen Schweppes, that's like the SCHWEPPES. And they're like the kind they have on airplanes today and stuff.
Ooh.
Is the brand. And quote, it was in the early years of the 19th century that Schweppes products were exported throughout the British Empire, and the company became the mineral water supplier to Britain's upper class and royalty. So that was kind of the big major brand, but there were a lot of small soda shops and like soda factories that popped up that we'll get into. But that is kind of, there's like you can do a whole rabbit hole on that, but we're here to also talk about women. We love women.
We do love women.
So, women, right? They existed.
Yes.
And they, on the soda and soda culture.
Oh.
So, one of the reasons that soda is going to become a thing and that these sparkling waters with flavors are going to catch on is because there's a bunch of women supporting a movement called temperance.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yes,
yeah.
It's where women, and there were also a lot of men who are part of the movement, but this is one of the movements where you'll see women being mobilized and published. So the huge opinion that alcohol often leads to like husbands abusing their wives, just to societal decline, things like that. So there's a lot of female moralists who are really on this bandwagon. In America, you might have heard of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who like famously she and she was you know what? I'm going to fact check that actually. But there's she or one of her friends or somebody.
Okay.
Because I get jets in the U.S. and the temperance movement people confused.
Okay.
Her name might have been Carrie Nation. Carrie Nation. That's her name, I think. We're going to go with that. So Carrie Nation.
Okay. You can retcon it.
Carrie Nation in the U.S. brought axes into saloons and just like destroyed all the alcohol.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty bad of her. So women in the UK, there's one named Mary. There was an article published on her whole family kind of involved in the temperance movement. Her father, she wrote for newspapers. She was a temperance activist as one of the great people in the movement, published a lot of books and moralistic stories. You know, kind of the classic, like, sad Victorian family, you know, or like a love story where this guy gets into alcohol and it ruins him when he stops. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would, I feel like there would be, it's reasonable to believe there might be a correlation in that.
Yeah. And then here is another temperance writer called Clara Lucas Balfour. We are going to have story time now. We're going to have story time, and we're going to read part of her novella/novel called Confessions of a Decanter, which is a whole fake autobiography written from the perspective of a decanter.
And decanters are like what people, they're like basically the second pot that people put, like.
They're like where people put alcohol in to serve at the table.
Okay.
It's like a kind of like a pitcher, but a little bit fancier looking, where you would put alcohol.
Okay.
To either drink out of or serve at the table. So she wrote this whole book from the point of view of a decanter, and I just find it extremely entertaining. And I think you can kind of see how this idea that decanters and the liquid that it contains, the alcohol, would lead to a safer liquid that is not as morally safe.
Okay.
So here we go to Confessions of a Decanter. All right. It may be thought that surveying so small a place as the corner where I was stationed, I could not have a very extended view of affairs, but like other cabinet men, I was taken into the secret of many in the family. Indeed, I soon found my and she never thought of being key. The consequence was that Patty, the housemaid, when she finished dusting the room, used to take a little of my contents, saying, as she wiped her, "What's good for the miss?" and dogged in the room with similar freedom, saying, "It's hard if poor servants as toils all day mayn't have a little of what some folks has too much of." And as for my mistress, she found the flavor of the cordial I contained very pleasant, and she felt so revived after taking me that, being in delicate health, Mrs. Spacious prescribed 2 glasses daily, one at 11 o'clock in the morning to produce an appetite, and one the last thing at night to procure sleep. My readers must observe that I held a medicine, not a beverage. The decanter's mistaken. At this point, it's a reference to the fact that medicines often included alcohol and were just an excuse for getting drunk. Though I confess I could not understand the distinction, for there were several bottles of medicine standing in a recess near to my station on the cabinet, but they were undisturbed by any secret admirers. And if on any occasion they were wanted, there were such rives made and such hesitation, I held a very different compound, being always in request and constantly replenished. One thing, however, troubled me much, for I often saw that when Patty or Dolly or Mrs. Spacious, or indeed my mistress herself, had taken a draught of my contents, they were always somewhat different, and often far less agreeable in their manners than they had previously been. It seemed to bring out whatever evil they had in their dispositions. It made Patty invariably pert and talkative. It sent Dolly downstairs some, and Mrs. Spacious always used to appear so dreadfully tender and affectionate, so ready to flatter and cajole, so weep or smile, as it's that she seemed almost as a very evil one himself, whom I had heard then read of my mistress after her morning would sit down languidly on the sofa, in a kind of easy indolent abstraction, unfit and unwilling for any useful employment. End quote. And then basically, Mrs. Spade is like this conniving servant, gets the young mistress addicted to alcohol.
This is like Decanter Matrix. This is, whoa. Yeah. She, man, the medicine that is not the medicine. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know it's actually pretty good writing, I gotta say. I found myself getting into it. Yeah, there's a lot about inappropriate female behaviors as well. So you can also see how both women are getting power and being able to stand up and have an opinion on something, but their opinion still has to fit in line with traditional ideas about women as guarding respectability. Because one of the uses of the alcohol is identifiable people's dispositions, but too much and like being,
oh no,
you know,
can't have that around.
When the mistress starts to get addicted to alcohol, it describes that she has nervous fears, violent hysteric fits, altered with wild bursts of pure. Which sound like cardinal sins at this time, but also especially cardinal sins for a woman.
Mirth?
Puerile.
Puerile. My bad.
It's too childish. Women are supposed to be angelic and childish, but not like, you know, flagrantly childish.
So it's like they can only be a babe, not a brat.
Yeah, exactly. These kinds of things, quote, about alternate drinks to alcohol that were promoted and the temperance movement. He says, quote, the principal alternatives to alcohol advocated by reformers like Mariana Paul and Clarice Lucas Balfour were tea and to a lesser extent coffee and cocoa, warm drinks that could be enjoyed at all seasons by all ages. Nevertheless, soft drinks were regularly advertised by the temperance magazines, of which Workman and Friend of the Sons of a remarkable circulation of 1862. So this was a popular movement. Soft drinks were part of advocating for them. Okay. Quote, the first temperance in 1836, there were some 200, so they were temperance of culture at the same time that flavored sodas started to become more popular. So I would definitely say, like, obviously there's going to be a lot of different influences converging, many of which we'll talk about. But I want to recognize that this kind of movement and these kind of women writing about these things were making people think maybe I should drink something different than alcohol, which of course is often tea, but it's also increasingly going to be these soft drinks. In fact, they're called soft drinks because they're not hard drinks like alcohol.
Oh, dang. That's a banger.
That's like actually where the term soft drink comes from.
Whoa, okay. Two things. First of all, if you hear me burping, I'm so sorry.
It's the soda.
It's the soda.
It's the soda.
It has something to say about women. Okay. Also, secondly, this kind of reminds me of like the culture in Utah where like we don't have, instead of having temperance hotels, we have swigs, you know?
Yes. I love yes.
Yeah.
It's a big thing that to in like a treat or a special that is soda. Really, we'll get even more into the colonialism section because you always have to. But actually, soda flavors and like encouragement of like lemon, like sodas that are like raspberry sorbets, or sherbet with like turkey because they alcohol, and so they traditionally herbal and fruit sweetened drinks that are actually going to inspire soda flavor.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's
yeah.
So cool. Okay.
It's all connected, man. It's all coming together.
Web. Yeah.
Of course, the other way that we see soda is in the same way that it's filling a hole for alcohol. Alcohol was also in many quote unquote patent medicines or cure-alls, where it's like, this will cure every problem you've ever had. And a lot of those just had a very high concentration of alcohol. Because if you drink something with a lot of whiskey, it's like, wow, that made me feel better. And so that's kind of like so a lot of early sodas. Advertisement episode, there's like a Coca-Cola about how it'll help with headache. So sodas also kind of start in this weird space between a drink and like a tonic health thing. Even ginger ale, ginger being good for your digestion is something that they believed back then, as we still do today.
Yeah.
And so flavors like ginger were very popular because it was thought to aid your digestion, because also the sparkling waters, like the ones at Bath, were thought to aid your digestion. So the whole idea of like sparkling drink with these quote unquote natural flavors would like be healthy for you.
Oh my gosh, my mom does the same thing. She's like,
I love that.
yeah, she for like stomach stuff and like cold stuff, sometimes she recommends like boiling a can of Coke with slices of ginger.
Oh my
and
gosh,
then you have to drink it, and it's like kind of the worst a little bit.
It's kind of the worst. I feel like we all had something, like everyone I've talked to, there's always something like sipping a Sprite or sipping Coke or having Coke with lime or with ginger or something. Like it's still a belief that it will actually like do something.
Whoa.
I have actually a really fun fact about why Coke is called a cola, but that's for the end.
Okay.
at the fun fact section, down a lot of rabbit holes. Wait. Let me tell you about this fun thing I found about a diet drink, which is kind of like, I feel like this wasn't a soda, but it's kind of like there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a very long name. It's called A True and Brief Account with Directions for the Use of the Cerevisia anglicana, or celebrated English diet drink, a vegetable specific for the yellow fever of warm climates, putrescent, intermittent, low nervous, and bilious fevers, etc., etc., hypochondriasis, and indigestion. It'll cure your hypochondria. As well as these diseases, with their varied consequences. Indolent scrofula, the biotics for ability of the lungs, asthma, cough, bowel complaint, scorbutic, and their eruptions of the skin, female abstinence, etc., etc. By the either refer to period or like being a form of birth control. Yeah. So women, again, being an infallible remedy for all disorders, the origin of which may be traced to impurity of the blood or to the relaxation of the solids, including a variety too numerous for specification, but of which the annexed 100 and upwards of interesting cases will enable the reader to form some tolerable opinion. Originally discovered and successfully used in extensive practice for 60 years by Dr. J. Webster of London. This pamphlet is like 60 pages, by the way, about this drink. 60-page advertisement. But these kind of diet drinks are kind of what sodas kind of start out as, in a way. Is kind of sparkling water thing, and also kind of where we see women coming in again, because there was, for one, that women were weak, in the sense that they had that they couldn't really go to very many. So also kind of just marketed diet drinks and tonics.
Oh, dang. That's sad.
Yeah. Okay, so these little quack diet drinks are kind of the sad side of women and soda, in a way. But we also have this quote from Professor John Burnett, where he says, quote, a wide variety of plants, herbs, flowers, berries, fruits, and nuts were employed in making cordial waters, or draughts. The native source is often supplemented by imported spices. Both in the cottage and in the stately home, their making was a recognized part of the housewife's skill, like baking or brewing. Though by the 18th century, many were also available as commercially manufactured, often patented products. Some cordials were primarily medicinal, some simply pleasantly flavored drinks, but many had a dual function as both therapeutic and enjoyable. Almost all were heavily sweetened with sugar or honey, and many were considered particularly suitable for ladies as aids to digestion or as restoratives for any mild affliction. End quote.
Ooh.
So the women be making the proto sodas.
Okay, yeah. I mean, like, honey is good for your throat. So, like, you drink it and it probably does feel pretty good.
Yeah, fruits, nuts, ginger.
Fruits, nuts.
All that stuff.
Medicinal.
Yeah. And as we'll learn a little bit later, women also were helping make some of these sodas in the factories. Ooh, factory women.
Like positive factory or bad pot?
We'll see. We'll see. It's a little tease. But also this idea that these kind of making these traditional medicinal remedies, or this ability to harness different flavors of the natural world, is something that we see very associated with femininity at this time, even going back into the 1600s and things like that. So just an interesting little historical through line for you there. In my last episode on tea, we also kind of talked about women and making drinks as part of their role in the kitchen and in the household and in promoting respectability. So in a similar way, them taking care of people's digestion and things through these drinks and people's health is definitely kind of a maternal household role.
Okay.
Interestingly.
Bubbly, spicy.
Bubbly, spicy. Back again on the temperance note, I have a few interesting facts about ginger beer.
Hit me.
Ginger beer. Yes. So one of the popular first sodas were like small beers, which were very low alcohol, fizzy beers such as root beer, ginger beer. And so the line between alcohol and non-alcohol is more fuzzy. So these weren't super approved of by the temperance people, but it was kind of people's excuse to be like, I'm cutting back, guys. I'm cutting back.
Yeah. It's like I'm having a cocktail.
It was a cheaper hit, you know?
Yeah.
As well. So they weren't necessarily thought of as the most respectable thing, but you could probably still find a few middle-class gentlemen going and getting these. There were a lot of ginger beer, like street sellers, who Henry Mayhew talked about. He said, quote, "The London street sellers of ginger beer say the more experienced may be computed at 3,000. I don't know how he computed, but 3,000, of whom about 1/3 are women. Women. I heard them frequently estimated at 5,000, and some urged that the number was at least as near 5,000 as 3,000. But he thinks it's probably more like 3,000.
Okay.
But there's a lot. Basically, there's a lot, and it's important enough. Henry Mayhew, he wrote this book called The History of London Labor and the London Poor, which is like this whole survey of London. It's kind of low-key socialist. Yeah. But he found it important enough to mention these people. But yeah, it's not the most respectable because they're like selling it on the street.
Yes. Can I turn down the headphones a little?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, guys. We've had a lot of technical difficulties this episode.
We can put that away. Yes, Mayhew. We are very familiar with Mayhew.
we are familiar with him and the street sellers, and then of course, these as like a replacement for alcohol. A lot of ginger beer and ginger ale were sold in casks to pubs as well as bottled for people. So kind of like reminiscent of the same way beer was sold, they started selling ginger beer.
Nice.
And I think it's still a pretty popular alternative, although it doesn't really have alcohol in it anymore. It's just a soda.
Do we think that the design of like the modern soda can has anything to do with like
a beer can
or casks or like
this is a great question. I mean, certainly there are soda bottles that feature barrels in their labels, I think. Like Barks does, right?
Yeah, like Barks makes it look like brown on the outside.
Yeah, and then there's like the IBC root beer.
Oh, yeah.
Which looks a lot like an alcohol bottle. I actually had an uncle get pulled over and they tested him for drunk driving because he had an IBC root beer. Because the bottle looked the same. But they soon found out it was soda. So there's certainly that connection. It was also popular to have these small beers made from dandelion, burdock, horehound, ginger, of course, nettle, sarsaparilla, or sarsaparilla, depending on who you ask, parsnip, and sassafras.
Parsnip is, okay.
Yeah, very earthy taste is what we're going to kind of have with those. Also, we have some magazines such as the Mineral Water Trade Review and Guardian advertising things like ginger beer as non-intoxicant. So kind of that idea that it's not a toxicant like alcohol. So there's definitely a connection between this temperance movement and the soda. It's basically, this is my very long way of saying this.
Yes.
In terms of just some other soda flavors you could find, there were a ton of varieties of lemon. There was like one manufacturer named Meadowcrofts that literally had 3 different varieties of lemon. Like sunny lemon, sweet lemon, I don't know. I was like, those weren't the exact names, guys. But different kinds of lemon. So they liked the lemon.
Okay. Yes. I mean, we like it too. So.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
But like 3 different kinds. There were cream sodas. There were also like these snow cone like sodas called ices. They're kind of like a soda mixed with a snow cone.
Ooh.
As I understand it. Some of them had flavorings, though, that included liquid ammonia and ether. Not as like the flavor, but those were ingredients in the soda.
That can't be good for you.
No, it can't. It can't be good for you.
That's what the fizziness hides, man.
That's
the
what
dark
the
side
hides. So yeah, just a few other reasons for the catching on of soda. Judith Levin, who I also mentioned in the tea episode, had mentioned that people become accustomed to sugar-sweetened liquids through sugar-sweetened teas. So, of course, the people, they don't want their water. They don't want just their alcohol. The women, the children, the men, they want sugar-sweetened liquids. They have been opened up to a whole new world of flavor other than just gruel. FYI, Victorians ate a lot more than gruel, but they wanted flavor. This is just a fun tidbit. There was a British man named John Matthews who went to America, and he employed a formerly enslaved man named Ben Austin, and together they invented the soda fountain.
Wait, why? Okay, is the soda fountain just like dispenser for like
It's
multiple sodas?
It's
right?
like the contraption where there's a main source of carbonated water, and then it mixes with the different syrups at the different taps.
Okay.
But also they were very elaborate at this time. Like very ornate and gilded.
Ooh.
It was kind of a display. I'll include some old pictures of like old soda fountains, and these are going to be a lot more popular in America. So we're going to focus more on Britain, but there was a British man involved. But also, I just want to shout out, they probably did not recognize the efforts of this formerly enslaved man enough when he was helping. So I just want to say he probably did a really large part of the work.
As historically, that's very possible. Yeah.
But in England, there was kind of a preference for bottles. I think just because they were portable, and there was more of a pub culture there, where you could get the ginger beers, whereas in the U.S., a whole new culture arose, other than the saloons, to be the soda bar, where you could go to the soda bar and it was safe, it was respectable for everyone to hang out at together. And then, of course, the Levin also says, quote, this expansion reflected a growing demand which arose from increased disposable incomes after 1870, especially among the working classes who are now benefiting from lower prices of bread, meat, tea, and sugar. The market was encouraged by a downturn in liquor consumption, by shorter working hours and the growth of holidays, and by increased employment opportunities for women and juveniles. In middle-class homes, the soda siphon, which is kind of a soda tap for sparkling water, was actually a standard dining room equipment.
Wow.
So the contents were sometimes drunk with whiskey or as an alternative to the bottled spring waters that continue to be available.
Whoa.
So middle-class women had these in their homes. And then another just fun little point where soda pops up in England's history is that after the Second World War, John Burnett identifies what he calls a, quote, cold drinks revolution. And Levin also writes about this, that 300 years earlier, quote, 300 years earlier when coffee, tea, and chocolate had gained in popularity, end quote. But then she also kind of talks about thus the fact that both of these historians kind of recognize that after the war, there's an increase in heating system and there's an increase in availability. So now people don't need the warm drinks to keep them warm, and they want the cold drinks.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
That makes sense.
Do you want to talk about colonialism? Sorry, that was a hard left turn.
I love talking about colonialism. Let's do it.
Okay. It's not as extensive as this section, but we'll definitely have an episode just on colonialism, guys. Don't worry. So as I mentioned, lemonades and sherbets or sorbets come from Turkish and Muslim drinks that were sweetened with and perfumed with fruit syrup, herbal syrup, etc. Because they actually did have a powder called sherbet that you would add to things to sweeten them. And so the soda syrup is basically just England stealing that and making the fruit flavors into an easier more easily mass consumable thing. Honestly, it was very mass consumable already, though. So just making it.
Yeah, they packaged it.
They packaged it differently.
Yeah, and then they were like, this is
as
ours
colonialism does. But really, the Turkish and Muslim people, they knew what was going on. They had the flavors. And honestly, they were right on with good flavors because, like I said, the lemonades were like hopping and popping.
Ooh.
But also, I just wanted to talk about Orientalism just a little bit, just because I do think, me being an overthinking scholar, that there's a connection between this desire to imbibe drinks associated with countries that Victorians would call quote unquote Oriental, because they were obsessed with thinking that these Eastern countries were like sexy and exotic and cool. And I definitely think that's a part of it.
So you gotta drink the sexy juices.
Yeah. And even like these like lemonades and fruity drinks were called summer drinks, which makes sense because fruits, like especially if you actually made a fresh fruit syrup, were popular in the summer, but also this association with like summer and like exoticism and
hot
like
weather.
The desert and hot and sexy, sweaty stuff.
Not like London, not like England, you know?
Yeah, just like kind of that like, oh my goodness, what's it called? Fetishized kind of othering.
Yeah.
I think is a part of it. And then, of course, we've got the Great Exhibition.
Woo!
It's coming into play.
Let's go.
There was an ad for this, but I'm going to re-explain it just a little bit. Basically, England decided to have this World's Fair to kind of show all of the other countries how cool they were. And so they basically had it. Okay, guys, we're going to start over. So they had all sorts of exhibits at the Great Exhibition. They had people on display in a very uncomfortable and racist way. And it just had a lot to do with colonialism, showing themselves as superior to other countries, but also kind of gawking at and showing off other cultures that were part of their empire.
Yeah, it's really fun, but also
really, really sad.
Really, really sad. Yeah.
Yes. And at this Great Exhibition, as we know, like Guinness had their fountain and their displays. Well, Schweppes, the sparkling water company, paid, according to Judith Levin, who is our GOAT today, they paid, quote, £5,500, which is 537,000 pounds today, or in the U.S., $767,388. Quote, for the privilege of supplying fairgoers with aerated lemonade and a variety of mineral waters. The Schweppes company gained considerable attention from the presence at the Crystal Palace, selling over 1 million bottles at the exhibition alone. The image of the exhibition's dazzling, iconic 8-meter-high crystal fountain, commissioned by the Schweppes company, still appears on the Schweppes logo. Already in 1851, there were numerous manufacturers of bottled cordials, as well as different mineral waters. End quote. However, as we see, Schweppes is kind of trying to get in on the colonialism. Get in on the market.
That's not a good look for them.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Also sold at the Great Exhibition were Robinson's patent barley water, Hooper's sarsaparilla syrups from Cross and Blackwell, and Soyer's orange citron lemonade and nectar. Ooh. I love the nectar ads from this period, actually, which is just like a fruity soda, the flavor. Yeah. They're so ambiguous. Like, they're so vapid. It's like, it tastes like what it sounds like. Like, and it's like, I feel
like as a consumer, like, I want to taste nectar, you know, because like you imagine it's like fruit or like the inside of a flower or something.
Yeah, like
it's
the
like sweet,
the nectar
liquid.
of the gods.
Yeah,
kind
ambrosia.
of.
Yeah, but like it was probably just sweet.
It was probably just sweet. So yeah, just a lot of sensationalizing, a lot of ties into colonialism. And of course, Britain being able to manufacture things, have the resources, have the money. Where are they coming from? Exploiting their colonies.
Yay.
It's almost always they're a tiny island, guys. They wouldn't be able to do all this stuff without their colonies.
Yeah.
That's the sad truth. All right, it's time to get spicy.
Okay.
It's time to get really spicy.
Spicy like sarsaparilla.
Spicy like sarsaparilla. This is about women's everyday lives and soda in people's everyday lives. So, as we said, they already have the soda taps in their home, but also, quote, middle-class ladies might drink homemade lemonade, barley water, or toast water and water their wine or sherry. And yet, in 1888, one English woman said plaintively, if some genius would invent something cheap, healthy, palatable, and without alcohol in it, I, for one, will patronize him widely and give him honorable mention. There seemed to be to her too little novelty among available drinks. End quote. So they got some drinks. They're watering down their alcohol, so it's more respectable for them to drink what they want to drink. But also they're bored. They're bored housewives.
Yeah.
It's just the 1950s all over again.
Yeah. They just want flavor.
They just want flavor. They just want flavor that's healthy and without alcohol so they can feel good about themselves and present themselves well to society.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Do they have juice during this time?
Yes. I actually will have to answer this question more fully. But I would say that most of the fruit consumption other than whole fruit that you would buy from the market is probably coming from fruit syrups that you add to sparkling water or have in sodas, because I just think that juice wouldn't transport as well. But that is my unresearched.
True.
That's my unresearched answer.
Okay.
This could be completely wrong. Next episode, I'll answer.
Okay.
About juice.
Okay. But that seems reasonable to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't see juice cited as much. I think they did have like cloudy sodas though.
Oh.
And in the UK, cloudy just means like pressed juice that has more of like the pulp of the fruit in it. Mm-hmm. So they are having the pulp of the fruit in their sodas.
Okay. Okay.
So they're at least having something akin to juice if they're not fully having juice yet.
Yeah. I also think like thinking about the climate of England, like it's not really like how fruit positive is that, you know? Like I imagine there's a lot of like exotic tropical flavors that wouldn't necessarily like be available in that climate.
They actually even have different seasonal flavors. Going a little bit, taking a little step back to colonialism, in the magazines, they have some seasonal flavored syrups that they try to sell to merchants, like Japanese plum and stuff like that. So there is some exoticizing or trying to shake up the flavor market in questionable ways.
Yeah.
Or not questionable ways. I guess we kind of still do that now.
We still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We do still do that. Of course, there was sexism in terms of what, I guess maybe it's not as serious of sexism, but gendered expectations of what tastes women liked. So there's still an assumption sometimes that women like sweeter things than men because women are supposed to be sweeter than men.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
But so like, for example, Judith Levin, again, coming to my rescue, said that drinks that contain phosphoric acid, eggs, or bitter ingredients such as quinine were understood to be men's drinks. Because the men, Diane, they're bitter, they're tough, they're rough. They like their whiskey, they like their eggs in their soda, which I also forgot to mention. They're putting eggs in soda. They're like whipping it, I think like a creme brulee. Okay. So they're the original dirty soda.
Oh my gosh. I mean, people still do that with like alcohol nowadays. Like there's a lot of mixed drinks where they like whip up the egg and then put it on top of the alcohol.
Yeah.
And so it's not. Also, is quinine good for you? Like,
I don't know, but it's sparkling. There's mini sparkling waters today that still contain trace amounts of quinine. And I'm like, I don't think we're supposed to have that.
Yeah. Or phosphorus. Like, are we supposed to be ingesting
phosphoric acid? I think it's still in some sodas today. Okay. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But I mean, sodas just still always have had questionable ingredients to get that nice, kick, robust flavor.
Delicious.
Yeah, but the men's drinks, I don't think many of us would want to drink them today.
No, they sound bad.
And then, of course, cream or chocolate sodas were feminine.
Oh, chocolate sodas.
Chocolate and cream, because women, we're creamy, we're chocolatey, that sounded wrong.
That does sound wrong.
I'm so sorry. But, you know, it's like angelic, soft,
yes,
delicate,
yes,
sweet flavors. And then my favorite is that Judith Levin found some of the names of some of these soda drinks, because there's like, you could get fancier drinks or you could get the bottled drinks. But there were some sodas that were called Persian sherbet, ambrosia frappe, nectar, Bowler's favorite, and this is my personal favorite, Hyde Park Tally Ho.
Oh my god!
I have no idea what flavor that is, and she didn't explain, but I would try Hyde Park Tally Ho.
Both me and Brooke have been at Hyde Park.
It's so lovely.
Yeah, I would have loved to have a tally ho there.
I want to move to London.
I want to move.
If any of you live in London and can get me there,
yeah,
text me or email me.
Move to Hyde Park. Like, if somebody has just gorgeous. A shed in Hyde Park that they could let me rendezvous in, that'd be so good.
Seriously, I so agree. So a lot of these names, I think, were used at U.S. soda fountains because they were more in the U.S., though they might have made their way in the U.K. But you can also see kind of the othering or the calling upon British trends as well as like Persian trends. And nectar. And then, of course, there's also the assumption that women and children, quote, women and children tended to prefer the sweeter drinks such as lemonade, orangeade, sherbet, or collie. So like women as fruity as well.
Okay.
Also, it's like a weird connection, I feel like, because women keep being grouped with like the quote unquote like Eastern and quote unquote Oriental drinks. And there's like some weird.
Yeah, I mean, the Easter and the Orient is always feminized.
It's always feminized.
Yeah, so now you're getting like a reverse thing where like the feminine qualities are being...
The drinks are being feminized and the women are being feminized through the drinks.
Yeah.
So Orientalism.
Yeah.
It always comes back. It always comes back. I can't escape it no matter what I do.
No.
So yeah, it's kind of that feminizing of the Orient and like the Orientalization of just women as
being fruity.
Fruity. Exactly. Factory women. Remember all that time ago, all that long, long time ago when you wanted to know about them?
Yes.
Well, here you go. So there were women and children, women mainly, but there were girls and lads as well, so children, in the breweries, factories, and manufacturing process.
Okay.
Of sodas. In one survey that was part of the booth surveys, men were paid 27 to 30 shillings, which is the equivalent of 83 pounds today per week. And women were only paid 8 to 12 shillings.
Oh.
Which is about $34 to $51 a week.
Oh my gosh. That's
the wage gap. The soda wage gap.
Man. That's... Yeah. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not.
I know. I owe Nigel Jeffries for that beautiful figure.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not beautiful, actually. It's really depressing. So they were present. Women were working. Guys, it wasn't just the 1940s when women started working. Women were working and trying to provide for their families and having to do it on half of what men got, literally just because people were like, the men can't feel bad that the women are working. The husbands need to feel like the providers.
Okay. Lovely.
Yeah. And then, of course, women and everybody as consumers of soda were exposed to the dangers of questionable things. Quinine.
Phosphoric acid.
And so there's this guy who goes by A.D. Crabtree, M.D., which I might consider changing my name to someday. And he wrote a book called The Funny Side of Physics, or The Mysteries of Medicine, presenting the humorous and serious sides of medical practice. An expose of medical humbugs, quacks, and charlatans in all ages and all countries. And he has a section on soda fountains.
there can't be humbags in the soda industry.
There couldn't be. So this is his exploration of the, like, it's kind of like a little bit more in the muckraking style of like, this is what's actually in the fruit syrups for your soda water.
Oh my gosh, how the sausage is made.
How the sausage gets made.
How the bubble, how the soda gets its fizz. Oh,
ooh,
the juicy stuff.
Yes. So there were some companies that did use actual fruit water, especially at the beginning when it wasn't as large of an industry. A lot of the fruit waters were real fruit, but more and more they claimed to be real fruit. But were they? So this is what he says. Fruit syrups for soda water. Perhaps you take yours plain. No. Then you may want to know how the pure fruit syrup, which sweetens and flavors the soda, is made. The soda itself is a very harmless article. Butyric ether is usually taken for a basis. Butyric ether is manufactured from rancid butter, old rotten cheese, or Limburger cheese. The latter is the loudest and affords the best flavor to the ether. The cheese is treated with sulfuric acid. This is a little bit exaggerated, by the way, but some of these things are true. Old leather is known to give it a particularly fine flavor. Any old boots and shoes will answer. End quote. Once again, I think the butyric ether thing is true. I don't know if the leather thing is true, but he's just having fun now.
I think the butyric ether thing is definitely true.
Yeah. Pineapple syrup is made from butyric and formic ether. The latter is manufactured from soap or glycerin. Sulfuric acid and red ants will do as well. Strawberry is made of 12 parts of butyric ether and 1 of acetic ether, alcohol, and water. Color with cochineal, a bug of the tick species from Mexico. Sometimes a little real strawberry is added, but it is not deemed essential. Raspberry is made from the same articles. If convenient, the druggist adds a little raspberry jam or syrup. If not, color a little deeper and add some strawberry and change the label to raspberry. Vanilla syrup is made of tonka beans, such as boys sell on the street. Peach is made from bitter almonds, wild cherry the same. Nectar is formed by a compound of various syrups and Madeira wine. You can easily make the Madeira of neutral spirits, sugar, raisins, and logwood to color it. Sarsaparilla, take the cheapest and nastiest molasses obtainable, strain it to remove dead bees, sticks, cockroaches, etc. Flavor with essence sassafras and wintergreen. Little extract sarsaparilla will do no harm if added to the mixture. It is very harmless. Lemon is made of citric acid and sugar. The lemon's still safe. They still love the lemon. Coffee is made mostly of chicory, burnt livers, sometimes a little coffee bean. Horses' livers are said to be the best, giving it a racy flavor and more body. They are all very good, the vendor tells you. He takes his plain, however. You see how much cheaper these are than the real fruit syrup itself, and as neither you nor I can tell the difference by taste, what inducement has the dealer in soda water to use the costlier articles? I have a friend who sells pure syrups, and I presume the reader has also, but I respectfully decline drinking soda waters with quote-unquote pure fruit syrups.
Oh my gosh. That's a whole thing.
It's just it's basically red 40.
I mean, yeah, like,
bugs.
We still have the cocktail,
the bug dye.
the red, natural red 40 or whatever that people complain about. Yeah. The cockroaches, however, that's kind of new.
They're in the molasses. You got to strain them out of the molasses for this sarsaparilla / root beer.
Yeah, but you still get a hint of
cockroach. Yeah. I never knew, though, that wintergreen was a potential additive for that root beer flavor. Which the more I think about it, the more it makes sense.
Yeah, it is kind of like that, like, metholic, like, minty, like, flavor.
Yeah.
Root beer.
Yeah, like it does kind of have that aftertaste.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting how many flavors are actually in the sodas to make the one flavor. There's like layers of weird flavors that usually shouldn't go together. Yeah, I mentioned this just because if you went back in time and you were a woman from this time, you probably drank some of that stuff.
Okay. Delicious.
It's just creating that real everyday experience for you to think about what it could have been like ingesting these lovely syrups.
Delicious.
Also, at the soda fountain, you might run into once again, mainly in the U.S., but I think there were some American-style ones in the U.K., but also this was just too fun of a fact to pass up. There is a book for soda jerkers that has, like, references for a I don't care mixture, which if you're a customer, so think of yourself, you're a respectable lady. It's the Edwardian period. You've got your pretty, like, Gibson girl top knot. You're walking into the soda fountain, and you're like, I don't care what I drink. Well, the soda jerkers had specific recipes for what to give the I don't care person of, like, different flavors to combine so that they come back.
Honestly, I'm that person, so I get it. You know,
Yeah.
It's like when somebody asks, like, what do you want? I don't know, like, whatever you want.
Yeah,
like,
and it, like, ruins them from having to actually make the decision. You're just like, I think a lot of them were just fruity mixes of, like, make some pineapple and strawberry and put some cream on top and be like, here.
Yeah.
Drink it.
Also, just to clarify, what is a soda jerker?
Oh, yes, of course. A soda jerker is the word. It'll especially be popular in the 1930s and 1950s. But basically, it's the person that runs the soda bar.
Okay, that's what I thought.
It's just the person who, like, pulls the taps, puts your soda in the thing, and serves it up.
Oh, because they jerk down the lever.
Levers for the soda taps.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for asking.
I
love questions. And then we've got women appearing. Where do women appear in these very male-dominated journals about soda and mineral water? Where do they appear? We're going to find out. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
Are you ready? They appear in ads.
Yeah.
Ads.
Sexy ads, I'm guessing?
For the time, maybe.
Okay.
Pretty ads, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, like, so much sexy as it's going for more of, like, oh, she's gorgeous and I want to drink soda with her vibe. I don't know.
Okay. It's still the same thing.
But, so there's one advertisement for the London Essence Company. So they sold the essences, like the essential oils, basically, to flavor sodas. And it's just like a bunch of pretty women with carriages. You can look at it. It's sideways.
Okay.
But you can look at it, tell the people what you think.
It's very vague.
It's just vague women in carriages.
It's not, it's not, I don't know. I think it's, like, sexy if you just consider the concept of women being there and sexy.
being kind of different. Well, also, I think women at this time, what women could drink and eat was what it was respectable to drink and eat. Men had a more open world. It was more acceptable to consume alcohol in public. That's not that there weren't women consuming alcohol. Of course, middle-class women have wine and sherry, and working-class women could have, working-class women might have more of a range of alcohol, but kind of this idea that it's kind of creating a respectability culture around soda just by the sheer fact that there are women featured in the carriages. Like, this is okay for your family. This is okay for the women and children. It's not icky. It's not sinful.
Yeah, it's respectable.
Yes.
Dainty.
And then there's an advertisement for, like, bottle stoppers with these little red rubber bands. And it just has, like, a woman with, like, a very angelic, like, glazed over baby face, just, like, holding them daintily with her big hat.
Okay, I'm gonna.
You're gonna look at it.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think. She's scanning the image. She's scrutinizing it carefully.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very, like, safe
it's a safe, pretty girl.
Yeah.
A modest, safe, pretty girl telling you can put these bottle stoppers on your non-alcoholic drinks.
Yes.
Exactly.
And it's very pastel and, it's not. And there's, like, a building behind it.
Yeah, it's very pastel colors, very like whites and pinks.
Yeah. For the home, you know.
Rosy cheeks.
Yes.
But women appear elsewhere. Speaking of red rubber rings, there's a red rubber ring scandal that gets discussed throughout some of the pages of the Mineral Water Trade Review and Guardian. So there was this girl who got appendicitis, and it was found out. The doctor was kind of asking her, like, have you done anything differently recently? Because we still don't know a ton about appendicitis, and they didn't know a ton about what would set it on. And anyways, they found out she was drinking 6 bottles of soda or so from the shop next door every day.
Okay.
And then she got appendicitis. And so this doctor from the Lancet, which is my favorite Victorian doctor's journal, just because it's entertaining, he doesn't go, it's the soda. Even then, I'm not really sure if that could set on appendicitis or not.
Yeah.
But he goes, it's the red rubber rings on those soda bottles that she's been drinking because they're letting antimony get in the bottles.
Like antimony from the rubber?
Yes. Well, from like the reaction of the rubber with the other components of the soda bottle.
Was it true?
According to this newspaper, which has a huge interest on continuing to sell the red rubber rings, they did a bunch of tests after the doctor's suggestion and found that there wasn't actually a connection.
Okay.
So we'll never know. But it didn't cause her appendicitis because, once again, I don't think it's things like that that necessarily set appendicitis up. Although I'm not a doctor. But I feel like it's kind of random.
No, I feel like they just put, like, correlation to causation. Like, there's probably something to the effect of drinking 6 sodas.
6 sodas is not, a day, maybe with all the carbonation might.
Yeah, with the interesting stuff
do something to your digestion.
But I don't think like you can link it to appendicitis, especially if like were there other reports?
No, just this girl that.
Okay, yeah. Well, there you go.
I just like to think about her because I'm just like, how, like, I think she was middle class. But it's just like, how boring would your life have to be that like the most exciting thing in her life was probably getting the sodas from the shop next door.
Yeah, and trying the different flavors.
Different flavors. Because otherwise it's like probably like you have to get married and go to prep school and be dainty and delicate and sit on the sofa and wear corsets and talk to boys very minimally.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, imagine the one thing that you have for yourself that you can enjoy.
6 bottles of soda.
Yeah.
And the doctor took it away from her.
Yeah. This is, I feel for that girl, honestly.
I honestly relate. I want to meet her.
Yeah. Same.
I really do. Then we have women getting stolen from. Crime. Spicy.
Okay. Soda stolen from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of. Tell. You gotta hear the story. All right. It's called The Man from Beatty's! ! At North London Police Court, Albert Wood, alias John DePlank. Sorry. I wasn't prepared for his alias. 40. General dealer of William Street, Horton, was charged with stealing 80 mineral water siphons.
Siphons?
Yeah, like the soda water taps that you could have in your home. It's like a smaller sparkling water kind of fountain siphon. Okay. I'll attach a picture.
80 of those.
He stole 80.
Can I see the picture?
Worth £4. I actually don't have it on me right now, but I'm going to show it to you after the episode. And all of you listening, go look at the pictures right now, and you can look at it right now. The property of Mr. Charles Byer, secretary of the Metropolitan Hospital, Kingsland Road. He stole them from a hospital. Miss Violet P. Squire, nursing sister, said that on the evening of May 22nd, a man called at the hospital saying he had been sent from Beatty's mineral water manufacturers for empty siphons. He was allowed to take away 8 boxes containing 10 siphons each. So I guess they're reusable.
Okay, that's good.
Or like you go through multiple ones. But it was subsequently discovered that Beatty's had not sent for the goods. The siphons were valued at £1 each. The deposit paid on them by the hospital authorities Louisa Burt, dormitory maid, and Charlotte Skinner, cook at the hospital, declared that the prisoner was the man who had taken away the siphons, the former picking him out from amongst 8 other men. She added that he came in quite a businesslike way, with a pencil behind his ear and a cart outside. Oh, yes. The perfect indication that someone is from the siphon Barley's mineral water manufacturers.
Say what you will, DePlankett style. He committed to his role.
He had a pencil behind his ear. Also, I feel like this was probably one of the most interesting things that happened at this hospital, honestly.
100%.
So, keep it up. Enjoy it, girls. Enjoy picking him out from the thing. I hope they did. I hope they had fun identifying him and felt important, because they should. The prisoner, who said he could provide an alibi, was remanded and was refused bail.
Okay.
He tried. He really did.
Okay.
The pencil behind the ear is crazy. I feel like that's like from an early 2000s kid show.
It's like the equivalent of like a fake mustache stuck on.
I guess, the cart's pretty convincing, because I guess it's kind of like, why would someone want to bring a cart all this way in the cobbly streets?
Why a cart and a pencil? Like, the combination doesn't...
The combination doesn't. It doesn't click.
Yeah. No one would do that. No one would do both,
No one would do both. No one would commit that hard.
Except a plank. Why does he sound like a pirate?
He's the star of this story. He came up with like that alias himself too, which is top tier.
Oh my gosh.
Now we have a very fun story though about a woman stealing soda stuff.
Ooh.
Rebellious women.
We love representation.
So this one is in the British Colonial Mineral Water Trade Journal. Similar name, different magazine. It is called, quote, Queer Story of Saccharin Smuggling. Saccharin is an artificial sweetener, by the way, which they actually used in soda a lot back then, but because it was cheaper than sugar.
Okay.
So both saccharin and sugar, popular. All right, here we go. Agent provocateur, exclamation point. This was the heading with the inverted commas, which one of the daily papers gave to the report of a case heard at the Marlborough Street, London, police court of saccharin smuggling. This was the dramatis personae. Israel Solomon, 28, Taylor. Frida Solomon, 26, his wife, both of Hanway St. Oxford Street. And Haman Stern, 40, a potato merchant of Old Montague Street, Whitechapel. The saccharin, which amounted to 2.5 pounds, was found by inland revenue officers. However, when arrested, Mrs. Solomon said that Stern persuaded her to go to Rotterdam to buy the saccharin, and she smuggled it to England in a petticoat with specially prepared pockets. To add to the piquancy of the situation, it was stated that Stern said when arrested that he only carried out a customs officer's orders. Indeed, Mr. Frederick Fox, confidential inquiry officer to the customs, admitted that Stern had given certain information which had resulted in convictions for smuggling. Early in July, proceeded the witness, he saw Stern and Mrs. Solomon at Fenchurch Street Station. Mrs. Solomon entered a carriage of the boat train for Rotterdam. Subsequently, witness asked Stern what was in a brown paper parcel the woman carried. He said it was a petticoat with pockets in it. That's how he knew. He said the woman showed it to him in the waiting room.
Okay.
A very extraordinary story, interpolated the magistrate. The witness Fox actually saw Stern assisting the woman to commit the offense, acting as it were as agent provocateur. In the end, however, the estimable Stern was discharged. Still, he was the object of a strong expletive. Says the report, Mr. Morrell, in addressing the magistrate for the defense, urged that Israel Solomon knew nothing of the matter before the SI's officer's visits, and that the responsibility of the offense must be laid at the door of Stern, whom he could not help calling to scoundrel. The magistrate ordered Israel Solomon to pay a fine of £3, and Mrs. Solomon, £1.
Okay.
She's a woman, she gets to pay less for her crime.
That wage gap is coming in clutch,
It's coming in clutch. I just like that she took her petticoats, her like female coated garment.
Yeah.
And something too that men aren't supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
To try and empower herself.
Let's go.
Let's go, Mrs. Salmon.
She should have gotten away with it.
I just love... Because this is just like a re-reporting, I don't have all of the details, but I'm actually so confused about this guy who's just like, yeah, I saw it. Like, she just showed it to me. And I reported it. And I'm like, did she really just show it to you? Yeah. Or like...
It's a confusing circumstance.
But good for her. Good for her.
Very good. Yeah.
I have one last ad for you called Gathering the Lemons.
Okay.
This is a bonus ad. It is for Duckworth's Essence of Lemon, and it basically just shows the process of gathering the lemons. And it basically shows these very bucolic, peasant-looking ladies. There's a few men, but it's mainly peasant-looking ladies collecting lemons from this idyllic orchard.
Okay.
I just want your thoughts on it.
Okay. I'm looking.
Kind of looks like a little storybook illustration in a lot of ways. This ad will be available with the pictures on this episode as well.
That's very nice. Are they supposed to be that color, though?
The women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, are they... thinking on colonial.
I feel like it's a stand-in that these lemons are probably collected in the colonies, but they are very much like white European-looking women.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like our women are laboring gently as like farm wives, harvesting, producing, being womanly.
Yes.
To provide these lemons for us. So it's like a rebranding of the lemon as like some sort of bucolic European scene.
Yeah, like suddenly lemons are like the specialty of Europe.
The UK. Yeah, with their lemonades and their lemon sorbets that the women love to drink apparently and love to make apparently and pick all these lemons. Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. All right, you ready for the wrap up?
Mm-hmm.
Soda and nationality.
Okay,
to the modern day. So sodas kind of have developed their own national identity. We've already seen how different sodas were taken from different countries and how sodas were given names like Persian sorbet or something to do with Hyde Park or things to do with certain things. But also just different places kind of identify with different sodas, especially nowadays. So Ireland used to have like an older golden ginger ale created by Joseph Cantrell in the 1850s that used to be one of the most popular ginger ales. Scotland still has Iron Brew.
Okay.
Which is like from what I've heard, it kind of tastes like bubblegum. But it's like a Scottish soda.
Okay.
And it's still very popular there. Also, Nigel Jeffries, my man who came up briefly earlier, his whole paper is actually on these Italian immigrants called the Biucci brothers, who were Ticinese Italian. And they had moved to Britain and were part of a Ticinese Italian company. And in fact, many people of Italian heritage in England were involved in small businesses, especially manufacturing sparkling drinks and ginger beers.
Oh.
So, immigrants, doing great things.
Yes.
Amazing. And then, of course, another thing that affects national identity with soda in Britain and what kinds of drinks were popular for a time was that during the war, during the World War II, the Minister of Food, Lord Woolton, wanted soft drinks to be available during the war. He wanted them produced in as streamlined a manner as possible, but this meant that mainly only cordials could be produced and that they were, quote, sold under generic wartime soft drink industry labels. And Vimto, which is another soda, which we are unfamiliar with here, also became really popular. And apparently Vimto is actually still very popular in like Iran and stuff like that.
In Iran?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how that whole like conduit happened. But this is just like part of the book when I was trying to figure out more about Vimto is just like, yeah, it's popular there. I think it has to do with like political tension in which Britain during like political intervention basically brought the drink over, but then it actually is more popular there than it is in Britain. But kind of this idea of like cordials and fruity things. I don't think they're necessarily the most popular sodas in Britain, but I definitely think cordial flavored things are still a huge part of British identity. Like cherry cordials and like currant and things like that are still pretty popular. And then, of course, Coca-Cola becomes kind of a stand-in for American capitalism and becomes somewhat hated by other countries in the world, very beloved by Americans. And the interesting fact about Coca-Cola that I've been holding on to this whole episode, do you know why it's called a cola?
No, why is it called cola?
There is a nut called the cola nut from Africa, from Western Africa. And so just as they were borrowing flavors from like what we call the Middle East, they're borrowing flavors from Africa. The cola nut tastes nothing like cola today, but this is how they started. Then Coca-Cola, as they were continuing their brand, basically took little bits of the cola flavor out and accentuated it with other stuff until basically the cola flavor is gone.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
It also did genuinely used to have cocaine in it.
The coca?
Is the coca leaf, I should say, which is not... The coca leaf is used to make cocaine.
Okay.
So it does still have specific properties, but nothing like the properties of cocaine.
Yeah.
But Coca-Cola got like sued when they were taking the cocaine out in the early 1910s in America because we had like the Food and Drug Safety Act was like you can't falsely advertise what's in your thing. You can't have the fruit syrups that say pure fruit syrup that have that butyric acid in it. And so they're like, you call it Coca-Cola and it doesn't have coca in it.
Or cola.
Anymore. Yeah, but they kept it. And just a fun note to end off on Coca-Cola. In the Mass Observation Database, there's a diarist 5445. And she said, just in one of her, I don't know exactly what prompt she was responding to, but this is like her thoughts on just like English food. She says, quote, I don't say English cooking is wonderful, but the idea of having to subsist off of Coca-Cola, hamburgers, tossed salad, and French fried potatoes is more than I can stomach. End quote.
That's pretty funny.
I just thought that was a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Because it kind of shows how sodas have coalesced into these national identities, but also English people championing English food.
Yes.
Do you have any questions before we sign off today? Or any additional thoughts?
But wait, I actually have a soda fact.
Yes, do share.
And you can fact check me on this.
Okay.
But I was thinking about what you said about the soda fountain.
Yes.
And I was like, where had I heard that word before recently? And it's because Dr. Pepper, you know how like Dr. Pepper has like a gajillion flavors?
Yes.
Well, it's because the guy that was inventing Dr. Pepper wanted a soda that tasted like the sodas he used to get from soda fountains. And because soda fountains kind of like went out of vogue, right?
Yeah.
So you have something that's like, you have a drink that's supposed to be like the taste of many flavors mixed together.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I have actually heard that before. I'll like find some sort of source that we can attach. I'm sure it's not entirely apocryphal because it's at least probably a company statement.
Yeah.
Even if it's not 100% true, it probably is the company's stance on it. But I definitely think that just goes to show like the nostalgia for soda fountains, the way different people mix. There are definitely like soda purists who want to kind of go back to the cane sugar and the like actual pure fruit syrups and have that taste more like a soda fountain or more like a traditional kind of like siphon taste or something like that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's why like you have these things that are quote unquote like Mexican sodas or like the sodas from Mexico that are like made with real cane sugar and like
like old fashioned sodas.
Yeah. And they're in like glass bottles as opposed to our tin ones. You know?
To mimic the bottles people had back then.
Yeah.
Although it's funny because they're actually very modern and snazzy. And as we talked about earlier, a lot of these carbonated bottles were actually like on their side or like very dense and it didn't necessarily look like what we think of as soda bottles today, other than that Cod's bottle that looks like ramen.
Yeah.
But it's like interesting how we've kind of created a nostalgia around soda. But you know, when you're having nostalgia around soda, just think about that girl that drinks 6 bottles a day. Think about the girl smuggling the saccharin because she didn't want that pure cane sugar.
Yeah. Also the thing about cream. I was thinking about cream and soda, and I'm like, that's what happens when you like go to soda shops or like Swig, you know, and you get like, you pour the creamer in there and it kind of gets a little bit funky looking, but you like drink it. It tastes good. And you're like, I understand, you know? So like, very unfortunate that they were only like, women were only allowed to kind of drink the feminine flavors, chocolates, the dainty flavors.
I mean, I'm sure in like daily life, people kind of broke the rules. I think it's like advertising wise sometimes, or like I'm sure if you went to a soda fountain, you know, maybe you want the quinine egg phosphorus one, but you know, I'm sure the jerk would be like, oh, can I get you a chocolate cream, ma'am? And you're like, oh, man.
It's like, no, I want the one that tastes like a fart.
Because I'm rough and cool. Yeah. No, that was actually one of my favorite facts. Because we are surrounded by dirty soda shops. Go look them up. That's when you add the cream to it. But the Swig, one of the ones you mentioned, actually literally claims that they're the original dirty soda.
Whoa.
As opposed to the other ones here. And I just think that's hilarious because not only were they adding like the creamed eggs to their soda, there's actually cases where they were adding cream to their soda.
They're not original. Swig isn't like, original.
The original dirty soda was like probably made in the 1890s or 1900s.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And a half year ago. Like, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah. So
I didn't know they claimed to be the original.
They do. I think it's more of a fierce move of like, we're better than the other soda place. But I'm like, no, you didn't do it first. Some weird guy did it first with his like phosphoric acid and his cream and his butyric ether pineapple soda or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Or a woman. It's probably a woman. It was probably a woman that did it first. Yeah. After all, we know they love the creams. Okay. Yes. Even the idea of cream soda. We have cream soda still today that's just supposed to taste creamy. I bet that was originally more creamy.
Oh.
This is a possibility. I know there were cream flavored sodas like raspberry cream, like ether essence advertised in the magazines. So I think it was already just a flavor, but I wouldn't be surprised if at like soda shops and soda fountains, or if you're making a fancy one, you could add cream to it.
Yeah.
That's probably part of it.
I never understood what like cream soda was supposed to taste like, because like I don't know how you like describe it. It's like a little bit malty, but like having, and I, as a person that enjoys cream soda, you know, it's still like, what is it, you know?
It does taste kind of vanilla-y and malty, but it's like, it's a flavor that does kind of taste like cream, but it also tastes like something else that is all its own. That's like literally cream soda flavor. Yeah. It's interesting how just they have a life of their own. And I think they hold a big place in our lives and our memories. And I'm sure soda's held a big place in the lives and memories of everyday women.
Yeah.
And when they went out to the soda fountain, also just huge shout out. That was a place women could go in public and it was respectable. Just like how they could go to department store cafes and stuff. The soda fountain is a respectable place. And especially once you get past the 1920s and dating starts to become a thing, it was a respectable place to go on a date.
Wow.
So go women, get out there, go see the world.
Yeah.
So thank you all for listening. Go out and see the world, drink a soda or a sparkling water, whatever floats your boat. I hope you guys learned something wonderful and new and enjoyed our random tangents about soda. It's so much more than a drink. It's laden with cultural assumptions, identities, or moral parallels. I hope you were able to imagine what women's lives were like through the little glimpses we got of them in the archives. And thank you so much.